Welcome to How to Start a Fire in the Backcountry. I've had a couple of people ask me, and somebody told me I should make a video about this, so I thought I would. Say you're stranded out in the middle of nowhere, and you got to start a fire. What should you look for? Let me tell you a couple of things that I would look for. First, logs that are on the ground like this one, and this is an aged log, you can tell. It's actually spruce, we can tell from the bark here. If it's laying on the ground like that, it means that it's been soaking up water. And so even though that log should be a burnable log, it's going to have enough moisture in it, it won't burn well. So what we look for is like this tree right here. That's that closest one. That's a dead standing tree. That tree is dead as a doornail. That is like gas on a stick right there. That is a good option. And typically speaking, at least with pine and spruce, you'll find them dead standing like that, and those are always good ones to use. Deciduous trees I think are harder. Like if we look at this tree here, this tree is still alive, although it doesn't have a leaf on it because we're in the middle of winter, so it shed all of its leaves, so it appears as though it could be dead, but that tree is not dead. This right here, this is deciduous. It's suspended off the ground, so this one's suspended off the ground. It's not laying down in the water. This would be, if you had to use deciduous, this would be a good one to use, although deciduous is not my favorite. I prefer pine or spruce if I was looking for stuff, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Here's another. This is deciduous. It had fallen down, and that's as dead as a doornail, so we'll try some of that. On these, and this is another, you can see this is dead standing spruce actually. We'll cut some of these off and we'll make use those as tinder, and we'll get something going. This will light up really fast. Just looking through this, kind of the forest floor to see what works and what doesn't work. See, this one's alive, it's green, and so that would not burn. Worth a hoot. You can see the moose have been browsing this down. This is all moose browse. Oh, and that's interesting. I know we're supposed to be doing fire, but let's look at this real quickly. This is moose browse. They come in here and eat the bark off this. This is probably 8 feet tall right here. I'm reaching up as far as I can. That's 8 feet tall. You can see they've come in here and eat the bark off several of these actually. Okay, back to task though. And this is birch. You can tell birch from its papery looking bark, and birch generally burns well, but I can say I haven't had the great success when it's knocked down part way. So it's laying there suspended and dead, but drying. I've not had the best luck with it. I personally, let's go back to where we started. I personally really like spruce or pine, and one of the reasons is they both have a lot of pitch in them, and pitch is water repellent, and so if you have something that's got a lot of pitch in it, then it's going to automatically repel the water, and so that's going to be most certainly in your favor. The additional thing is pitch burns like crazy. It's black, it's ugly, the smoke is, but it burns really well. And so we're going to go ahead and cut some of these and try to make a fire and see what happens. So far what I've done is I've processed my sticks down into larger sticks, medium sticks, smaller sticks, and the smallest of the sticks I put right in here. This is the deciduous tree. This is the spruce, and I got a bunch of limbs laying there. That's kind of medium-sized stuff, and then I put the smallest stuff right in here. So now what I'm going to do is put a little tinder under each of those. We'll start them up, and I'm going to try to keep as many variables out of this as possible. Yes, the deciduous sticks might be a hair bigger. Yes, the spruce pile is a little bit bigger, and the sticks are a little bit smaller, but you know, to a certain degree, that's real life. You're going to be out there. You're going to have, you know, you got to do with what you got to do. And so I'm going to put lint under both these. I use dryer lint a lot because it's easy. And but I'll try to use the rest of the stuff, keep the variables down so that we can see which one of these burns. I'm positive that the spruce one's going to go. Maybe I'm wrong. The deciduous one, I have not had the best of luck using deciduous stuff. So part of the moral to the story so far is know your tree species and what burns well. Look for stuff with pitch in it. Look for down stuff. Look for stuff that's not laying on the ground, but suspended or dead standing. Okay, let's go ahead and get going with it. Okay, so this is a cool little match that burns for a long time. And I got some dryer lint down there, and I'm just going to poke this down there. And then we'll baby this a little bit. We'll get some sticks on top of it. You can see that fire going. Now I'm going to look for my smaller sticks to get on top of that. It kind of sort of looks like this is going to go. Now I don't want to give it too much right away because it needs to get air and breathe and whatnot, so I don't want to smother it with tons of stuff and get overly excited. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is walk away and let it go. But I can't help myself. Okay, well that's going. We're going to go ahead and start the other one, and we'll come back and look at this in a second. Okay, so I got my dryer lint down here on the bottom of this one. And realistically, these matches burn so well, you might not even get to the lint. And do the same thing we did on the other one. We'll let that get going, and we'll put some stuff on there, some small stuff, just so as the flames get going. The thing about this spruce is it's so poofy, it kind of keeps it from getting too close to itself, and so you got to keep feeding stuff in. I'm going to go right, I'm going to put some medium stuff on it right away, because as those flames are jumping up from the small stuff, I want it to capture some of that big stuff and get it going. Squish it down. Alright, so it's pretty clear that that's going to go. Let's go back and look at our first one. It's pretty clear that this one's going to go as well. So starting out with small sticks, going to medium sticks here. Notice how I'm putting them opposite directions. That makes sure that air can still get in there. So if we were in a survival situation where we needed to stay warm or even signal somebody, we've been doubly successful today. Both of these will work. Once you get it going, let's just say that you have to signal somebody. One of the things you'd want to do is, so once I get a fire going and See, that one's kind of, and I've probably been a little aggressive with that. I think that's going to go fine. This one here is starting to rip. If I was in a situation where I needed to signal somebody, what I would do is I would get some green spruce or green pine and throw right on top of that, and then it would just smoke like crazy. Okay, so if I was in a survival situation, I needed to signal. There's aircraft maybe going over, or I got buddies that I know are looking for me, and I need to get a signal up for them. I would get this thing going the best that I can, and granted, we're not going to get it huge right now. Now if I put something green on here, see what happens with this. See, there's enough pitch in that it will burn. Look how dirty it is. And so if somebody was looking for me and I kept a fire going, put brush on there, put some green stuff on there, put brush on there, then you know, that'd be a decent signal for my buddies to find me. Or if an aircraft was going overhead, they'd be able to see that. Safety fire, or our start of a fire. You can see the bottom of it there, and I just stack stuff on it, back and forth and back and forth. And you can see we're gonna have a really nice little campfire here real quickly. So it doesn't take much to get something going. Be safe out there.